Hey guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at XRP here today. And what we see is a wave 1 to the upside in which the waves overlap each other. And then we have a 3-wave move down. And like I said in my previous videos, if XRP was unable to close above $2.32, then this move over here is likely a counter trend before we see a flush down, right? So you had a 3-wave move down for your A, a 3 up for your B, but we only see a 3-wave move over here. So this could be a WXY correction instead. We would just need to see a move above $2.29 on the 4-hour time frame in order for us to validate a move up to $2.71 to $2.88, right? If we're unable to get a 4-hour close above 229 to 226, then it's very likely we're going to see one more flush down to around $1.95 to $1.91 to solidify this 147-day long range as support. As you guys can see, this is a Wyckoff reaccumulation range going sideways for 147 days and going down by over 51%. So we do have time versus price-based capitulation here, which is what we need for expansion, right? It's a recipe for a push to the upside, time and price-based capitulation. As you guys can see from 2018, we've just been within this huge wave 4 pennant. So this over here in 2018 was your wave 3. Then you had this wave 4 finish up in July of 2024. And now we're starting our wave 5 of 5 to the upside. Okay. Now what we see over here is Bitcoin rallying towards the 78.6% fib. And like I said in my previous videos, we did see hidden bullish divergence on Bitcoin on the daily and on the 4-hour time frame. And if we were able to hold this diagonal support at above 92,500, then it's very likely we're going to have continuation up to the 786 and the 886 fib. We're just a little bit above the 786 at 100,660. If we get a daily close above it, then it's very likely we're going to head towards 104,500. However, if we don't get above the 702 at 100,660 on the daily, then we could come down for a minor correction, right? So this was your hidden bullish divergence on Bitcoin on the daily. Do you guys see this? How we have a lower low on the RSI, and then on the 4-hour, we also had hidden bullish divergence. Okay, I pointed this out in the previous video. And yeah, so we're above the 786, and if we do get to the 886 at 104,508, there is a possibility we do something like this where we have a little bit of a pause in the markets. And during this pause, we're going to see alts rally hard, and Bitcoin dominance will continue its descent to the downside, but very rapidly during this consolidation phase. If we get it, Bitcoin could just keep going higher, but it would then form a little bit of a inverted head and shoulders, and then we would have continuation up towards 120K. Okay, now if Bitcoin gets to 104,508, then the probability of XRP getting above 232 would be more likely, I should say, right? You see how on the daily we wick to the 702? We would just need to see a 4-hour close above 229, and then we're good to go. Above 232. Towards these fibs over here, more specifically the 702 at 271. But yeah, here are all the other fibs that you guys should be aware of. Something I also wanted to point out on XRP is that we have no weekly close below the 200-day moving average. Okay, this is a Wyckoff reaccumulation range over here, just like that. This is your spring. This is your test and then you have continuation up to the 702. And then once you get above the 702, 786, then yeah, it's very likely the bottom is in. But coming back to this idea, we never went below the 200-day moving average on the weekly. Do you guys see how we're actually just grinding up off of it? And this week's low was a back test of the 200-day, right? So if we can reach for these highs of last week, sitting at 236, then I would say that this would be sufficient enough to consider that's the low, right? So just keep those invalidation levels in mind and the alternate scenario, because XRP, if we're unable to get above that level, then we're going to have a little bit of a deeper flush to around $2.03 to $1.95 to solidify this range as support. Otherwise, we will continue up. But yeah, XRP never went below the 200-day on the weekly. And something that I also noticed is that last week's candle swept the highs of the previous week, right? You swept the highs. And then this week's candle swept the lows of the previous week, with your draw on liquidity being the 200-day. So if we can get above there, if we can get back up to these highs, then it's very likely we'll see continuation up towards the higher fibs. Okay, I also like how on XRP, we never closed down here at these range lows until the week of March 31st. You see, every time we came down to the lows of this range, we closed back up. We actually had, every time we had a significant push back up. See, every single time. And then this week, your death candle, when the market was in fear, the week after you pierced these lows, and then if you just waited for that weekly candle to close, you would have seen that we had a close back into the range, right? That was your bullish signal right there. That's the sweep of the lows of the range and then a close back into it like that. Then the next week you have a doji. The week after that you have a bullish engulfing, a little bit of a topping tail. And now this week closes in about 3 days and 8 hours. And we actually swept the lows of the previous week towards the 200 days. So we'll see how it plays out. Don't forget that we have the 3-day MACD turning up. This is the daily, this is the weekly. And the histogram is turning up towards the 0 line. This is the 3-day time frame. You see the 3-day MACD? It's turning up under the 0 line. So, yeah. Very big things are headed for XRP, and the rest of the market should be moving on its way to the upside. But yeah, this is my Discord right here. If you guys love the content, then click the link in the description below. You guys can access over 350 assets. You guys can ask me any question you want and connect with me one-on-one. Peace out and take it easy. I'll see you guys in the next one.